What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What the Fuck Do You Do? I'm your co-host, Trey Bebe. We got T Foxy Trav, Justin Jawong Dong, and we are joined by a very special guest, Nicole.
Hi, everybody.
How are you doing?
Thanks for having me on. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Feels good.
Feels official.
Here. Feels official.
We're very professional.
I know. I love this setup. I'm gonna need to take some tips from you guys. Steal them all. This is great.
We can give them all. We've learned them all the hard way.
It's a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it is a lot of YouTube.
You did your research.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day. How are we doing?
Well, it got the best of me.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it, but it did.
Feeling a little slow.
Yeah. We're talking to three guys who have long runs today, prepping for our half marathon in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
So pretty healthy and fit.
you're doing the Brooklyn Half?
Are you doing the Brooklyn
I'm
half?
doing the Brooklyn Half.
Oh,
We've got four.
We've
Got
got
Oh my
four
gosh.
people training for the Brooklyn
my
Half.
God.
We're gonna have to celebrate
we're
after
like a group
this.
of 10. We gotta coordinate everybody.
Yeah, this is amazing. Are you guys? You're doing your training right now?
Define training.
I mean, I'm not really doing the training. Either.
Yeah.
I just run when I feel like running.
That's
like,
what
That's
Yeah,
the training.
yeah. I did 6 on Friday, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do anything more than this?
I don't understand the point of running more. No one's chasing you for 7 miles.
Yeah.
Like at some
Your
point they'll
demons
give
are
up.
chasing you.
My demons are chasing
That's
me
what feels
way
good.
past
Yeah.
that.
Whenever I see you hit like under 7 minutes, I'm like, there's some demons that Justin's working out.
It's bad because one of our friends who's really, really fast followed me on Strava, Matt Lander.
Yeah.
And now that Matt follows me, I'll never run slow ever again. Just because I'll just feel.
He's a crazy runner.
He just floats.
Yeah.
He doesn't run. He just floats along.
I mean,
I feel like for the marathon, I remember he started before me and was drinking beer when I passed the 17-mile mark. Like, he had done nothing. It's like, damn.
that's
I don't like this guy.
incredible.
How fast are his marathons?
I think he was doing like 6:30 pace.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I can't even do that for a mile.
Yeah.
That's not
I'm just
fair.
not, like, I was an athlete, but I am not a runner. I'm not. It's a different type of shape.
Yeah.
Totally.
What did Chris do his in?
I don't remember, but he did pretty good for it being his like first marathon, and he did train a lot, but he did pretty decent. I think his average like pace was 8 minutes,
He was
very
flying.
good.
He's
maybe
wild.
a little under. Like that's pretty solid for your first
That's great.
marathon.
He's a big dude too. So
Yeah,
when I
he's a
saw
guy.
that, I was like, he is flying right now.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
just finishing your first attempt at a marathon that's the win,
I will-
right?
I will
Right, that's
never
what it
do
was. Yeah.
I will never do it. I would be walking the second half. I'm like, no, thank you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I got in by lottery for the half. Is that how you guys got in?
For this one?
Yeah.
No, I think we just signed up. Are we doing the same
paid.
one?
It's the one that ends in Coney Island, right?
No, we're doing the one that ends in Prospect Park.
Oh,
But
okay,
I've done the one the Coney Island one twice.
Is it fun?
It's really
I
chill.
heard amazing things.
It's also pretty much you loop around the park and then you just run downhill to the beach.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I just want to get to the beach
Yes.
with a beer in my hand.
As fast as possible.
That's all I'm going to think about the whole
First year
time.
we did go-karts, we did DDR after, we got margaritas.
Oh,
we chilled
it
on the
sounds
beach. It was perfect.
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Last year it rained. That was terrible. No, I'm just commuting from
Yeah.
Coney Island in the rain. It sucks.
It's so funny, though, because Chris submitted himself for the lottery again for the marathon this year. And I'm like, the day that you came home, or like the day you ran the marathon, came home, you said you would never run a day in your life again. I go, what is wrong with you? Now I want to do it
changed.
again.
It's
Yeah,
like a
I
bad
guess.
hangover. You're like, I'm never drinking again. By Friday, you're like,
Yeah,
one margarita.
I'm never drinking again as of today.
St. Patty's.
I'm out.
Well, all this fitness talk I think it's a good segue into our actual topic.
Yeah.
Which is, what the fuck do you do if you want to get in shape? So before we actually get into the meat of this question, Nicole, can you just give a little background about yourself? Like, you have a lot of
Totally.
experience in the fitness world, but
Yeah.
we'd love to just hear that.
Yeah, for sure. So I was a gymnast for 22 years, did it in college, and I loved it most of the time, hated it some of the time. It's a hard sport. It's bizarre. Lots of injuries, and then I feel like during that time of my gymnastics career, it was my coaches that kind of forced me to work out all the time. And so the year that I finished, I was like, well, what do? I don't know how to work out by myself, because someone was always telling me, wake up at 5 a.m., go lift weights. I mean, you know, right?
You had a program. It was
Yeah.
programmed out for you every day.
Yeah.
You didn't really have to decide anything.
You had a personal trainer you didn't need to pay for.
It was awesome. I didn't even realize what we had.
How much money you're saving.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's incredible. So I started taking classes all the time and just like kind of figuring out what I liked, what I didn't like. And then I fell in love with like group fitness and just felt like I wanted to teach it. Yeah.
What type of group fitness classes? Were you like a CrossFitter or were you?
So I was CrossFitter for 4 years,
Ooh.
and I loved it. I was like, I'm gonna go to the games. This is great because it's competitive. It's like a team thing, and it's very gymnastics based in a sense too. But it also is not great for your body.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's amazing workout. You
Yeah.
can go in there and burn a shit ton of calories,
Yeah.
but like also your workouts aren't always about that, right? Like you shouldn't be too focused on just burning calories.
Yeah.
That's like a bad mentality to have. But I did really like it. It was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. And then I started getting into berries and Pilates. I'm now a Pilates girly, which I said I would never do. And now I'm obsessed.
Why? What was bad about being a Pilates girl?
I think I just wanted like hardcore. You know
Oh,
what
okay.
I mean? I want to like bench 165. I used to squat 210 in college.
That's
I'm
no
like,
joke.
There's
Yeah.
yeah,
numbers.
it was crazy because the year that I graduated, like 8 to 10 months after, my body shifted. Like I went down 2 pant sizes because I just wasn't lifting as much. I'm like, no, I miss my muscle.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to keep that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what got me into CrossFit.
Right.
So
Got
It
it.
was probably part of your identity as a gymnast.
Yeah.
Like, you train. I mean, tell us about that. Like, I can't imagine that being a trained gymnast is easy. Like, talk to us about that life, that world, and like what the training looked like back then.
yeah. So growing up, when I was in high school, I would go to school and then come home, eat lunch quick, and I would go practice till 9 o'clock every day.
Wow.
Monday through
Wow.
Friday. Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays I would go in the gym for 6 hours in the morning.
That's crazy.
Basically, like, you don't have a life, but that's the sport. Like, that's what you sign up for, kind of thing.
Wait, was this like
And-
like through your high school or like through a club?
Club.
Got
Through
it.
club.
Okay.
Yeah. I did high school gymnastics, but it's so short and it's not really competitive.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's more for fun. So, high school gymnastics that season is just like 3 months. And so I would go and practice for an hour there and then go to club. But, yeah, it's pretty wild. It's definitely a bizarre sport. And I don't know if I'll put my children in it.
Really?
Why?
I think I'm 50-50 on it. Because it's just crazy. I mean, even the stuff out there now with it, it's
Yeah.
like, it's
Just
wild.
because how much it dominates your life and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back, I'm so happy I did it. And I think that it has made me the person I am today. It makes you a little bit stronger mentally and physically, obviously. But no, I mean, I'm happy I did it. And I'm happy to be done with it.
What events were you doing?
I did beam and floor.
Oh,
And
so
so-
just the really hard ones.
Beam and floor. I did vault sometimes, but I had stress fractures. Oh my God, stress fractures in both my legs.
Oh my
So I
God.
couldn't,
At the same time.
like, I couldn't do 2 events that were super, like, pounding and high impact.
Yeah.
Where beam is, like, lighter. Beam, honestly, was my favorite and hurt the least.
It seems very painful.
The vault seems scary.
I hated
The
vault.
vault
Yeah.
I
is
was like, the
terrifying.
day they told me to stop doing vault, I'm like, amen. And I sucked at bars. Bars, I was horrible.
Yeah.
They
So-
like gave me the boot on that real quick.
ranking the scariest events for me.
Right.
It goes bars, vaults, the one with the circles that where you like hold
Oh, the
the
rings.
Jesus pose.
Just that's just men's
Okay,
though.
yeah.
But like that's wild.
and then continuing down.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no wonder.
Men's gymnastics is insane. Have you
They're
guys
the-
ever watched?
They're the strongest
Yeah.
people of all time.
Yeah.
Oh
they're
my
insane.
God. I mean,
Yeah.
they are like ripped. It's wild.
Their abs are just insane.
Yeah. I
Wait.
mean,
Tell me more.
They're so jacked.
they are so jacked.
For women gymnasts,
Yeah.
when we think about the available events, which are the events that a gymnast dreads the most?
That's really hard. Because for me, I would always dread doing bars.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared of bars. I was never a scared athlete, but that would be one event I was petrified to do things on.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, no. But once I got older and I was like, wow, half of these things that I'm doing, I could literally die. Like,
Yeah.
in seconds. You know what I mean?
It took you a while to figure that
It
out.
took me a while to figure that out. I used to be crazy. I would like chuck any skill you asked me to do, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not about that. I think bars would probably be the like hardest, scariest, or like what one would dread.
I'm terrified of all of them. So
Yeah.
Or beam. I mean, because beam can be scary for some.
Do you remember when that transition happened? Because I've been trying to think through, like, I'm afraid to do trampoline now. I'm afraid to do a front flip on
Yeah,
stuff. Like,
me
but when I was a
too.
kid, I was like, backflipping trampolines,
Yeah.
jumping off cliffs, doing like high dive, and I'm like, when did I get like scared of my own mortality? Like, was there a did you have like a bad fall? Was there a
Yes.
moment where you remember it changed, like with your confidence levels?
Yes. So my senior year of high school, after I'd already committed to college, I had surgery. I like randomly broke my foot. Honestly, it wasn't that bad of a break, but the recovery process took forever. I was in a hard cast for 3 months. They kept my pins in too long.
Wow.
And so after that, it was really hard to come back. And I think that I was super timid.
Gotcha.
And I was really nervous too because going to school and like having that whole change from club to college, I was going in out of shape, had to relearn all my skills, and I'm like, I'm going to be really behind.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of pressure. But I feel like once that happened is when I became more scared.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did
I'm
you?
like, oh yeah, bad shit can happen.
Yeah.
It can, yeah. Did you
Yeah.
enjoy college gymnastics?
Loved it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Even
It was
though it's
fun.
like super regimented and like.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hated my freshman year, but my last 3 years were amazing.
Okay.
My freshman year was just a transition.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I said, it was like a hard comeback.
Right.
And I was a walk-on my freshman year and then earned a full scholarship my last 3 years.
Let's go.
That's awesome.
So it was a lot of pressure because I knew that was kind of on the line.
Sure.
But no, it was fun. Like, I loved all the girls. You have an immediate family. You know that. Like, it really is. It's a good time.
Yeah.
And I could still go out just
Yeah.
on the off season.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like,
is like 4
maybe like
weeks.
3 months. Yeah. So,
But boy, those 3 months.
no, those 3 months, I was getting
Hard.
wild and wasted. You had to keep it like under wraps though. It's like the coaches found out you get a boot, but
They know.
they do. They definitely do. I remember I was we used to hang out with the wrestlers all the time
Uh-huh.
because it's 2 sports that are
Checks
a little
out.
weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You gotta be a little messed up in the head
Yeah.
to go through.
And I was dancing on like one of the bars in their apartment and I slipped and there were
Shit.
all these like glasses next to me. Luckily, one of the wrestlers caught me, but I nailed the back of my thigh. I'll show you guys the bruise after. It was probably this big. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to tell the coaches? Like, they know
Yeah.
this didn't happen here. And so I said I fell off my chair in my dorm taking off Christmas lights. And I was like, no way they believed me. But I tried. I tried my best.
Did they buy it?
They bought it. Yeah.
In
They-
high school,
they bought
yeah.
it.
In high school, we had a kid on the basketball team who
Uh-huh.
he twisted his ankle, and I think the real story was he twisted his ankle drunk at a party, but he said he had like fell off like his fence, like working on it.
Because that's way better.
What?
I was just walking on the fence, you know, like you normally
The
do.
coach is like,
That's
okay, fine.
hysterical.
Yeah.
They're probably like, just don't tell me anything. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to buy it
That
anyway.
always happens with pro athletes, I feel like, because they have those clauses that aren't like, it's like don't play pickup basketball in the off season as a
Yeah.
soccer
Yeah.
player, and then they always lie about it. Like, I fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no.
It's
you
so
released it.
funny. But yes, I did really love it. I did.
Okay.
It was worth it.
Okay,
Totally.
so tell me about the transition from gymnastics. You have like workouts all the time, programmed for
Mm-hmm.
you. Now you're on your own. Like, did you just inherently have that motivation to go work out, or like were you like,
No.
okay,
Definitely not. I knew that I had to be fit because it would drive me nuts if I wasn't. Like, I
Yeah.
was so used to moving my body. But no, it took me a little while to figure it out. I also had a moment of like, not depressed, but you do lose yourself a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, that
100%.
sport molded you for 22 years.
Right.
It's all you knew, all you did. So for like 6 months after college, it was a really hard transition for me. Like, I was sad all the time. I didn't know what to do with myself.
yeah,
I also didn't really know what I was going to do career-wise, so that was hard. But once I started taking classes, I was like, okay, this is fun. I like this. Never thought that I would love doing that. Like, I was always a big lifter. But it was a pretty smooth transition.
yeah.
Once I started, I loved it.
Did you like have friends that you went with, or were
Yeah.
you just like, I'm gonna do this on my
Always
own?
went with a buddy,
Okay.
which is makes it more fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember those like jumping boots. I think it's called like Kangoo. You know what I'm talking about?
Like shoes with
It's
springs?
a workout. They're shoes with springs.
The
They were
ones
like-
that like old
I think
ladies?
it's called Kangoo. It was wild. I did that for a little while.
You
And
were
then
just
I,
hopping in Kangoo practice?
oh yeah, just jumping around. I was like, this is awesome.
Times were tough. Huh?
It was hard though. Yeah, times were tough. I was really desperate. I was trying to figure out what I liked. But I did that for a little while. That was fun.
Yeah.
I tried like everything in the book. But yes, always brought a buddy. It
Got
makes
it.
it a little bit easier to go and do it.
And at what point did you like on your fitness journey did you decide like I want to be a teacher or I want to lead others
Yeah.
to do this?
So it was during COVID, actually like right before COVID, I was taking SLT all the time, Pilates. Fell in love with it. I was like, I never thought I would be a Pilates girly, but here I am. And then I knew I couldn't afford the membership because I'm like, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And I also like doing all my other classes too.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, how am I going to like become an instructor here so I can take every single day of my life because I love it. And then I auditioned for the program and started teaching it. And then I loved teaching so much and started teaching berries and then at Equinox. You become addicted, kind of. It's fun.
Why is that?
Well, I also moved to be a performer and a singer. And so I think it goes hand in hand. Like you put on a mic, you're in front of people, you put on a show for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, goes hand in hand.
Wait, what kind of? This is like
Yeah, whoa,
kind of
whoa,
twist.
whoa.
What kind of singer?
I moved here to be a singer. Not theater, but I wanted to be a jazz singer.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
So cool.
very cool.
Total twist right there,
Yeah.
right?
So, were you singing in college? Like
No.
Okay.
I really didn't want to go to college originally. I wanted to move to LA,
Same.
be a singer. My parents were like, you need to have your 4 years, get a degree.
Yeah.
Like, if singing doesn't work out, what are you going to fall back on kind of
Yeah.
thing. And honestly, I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah.
She's right. Even though a degree now, you really don't need it. It's crazy to see how successful people are without having a college degree.
Yeah.
Or doing
It's
something completely
insane.
unrelated to their
Yes,
thing.
totally. But then singing just didn't work out. So I was like, how am I gonna put a mic on and be in front of people?
So you like combined the two in a way.
Yeah, it's
Like
great.
you're doing like some type of
Yeah,
performing, leading, and also like
Totally.
athletic. Yeah,
Do you
that's
ever
really
do
cool.
jazz fitness?
jazz
Where you
fitness.
sing
No,
people through
Jazz
maybe I should
exercise.
do that.
I mean-
Jazzercise.
There's a business.
I don't know
there
if I'm a
somewhere.
jazzercise girl, but
You weren't a Pilates girl either.
I know.
Right.
Gotta give it a chance.
Yeah.
Shout out Joseph Pilates,
Is that the
the
founder of Pilates?
Yeah.
Oh really?
I learned this literally this morning
Look
because I
at
was doing
you.
research for the episode.
What is
You're
Pilates?
so good.
He was 1800s German dude named Joseph Pilates. Crazy.
I didn't even know this.
his Wikipedia photo is him like spread legs laying down. It's a really weird
No
photo.
way.
Someone was like, man, he's really putting it out there. Come
If
on,
only,
Joseph.
if only he knew the movement he started.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
There's no
This
idea.
is news to me. I'm
I
so
know.
glad. What
I
good
was-
research.
I was so happy. Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
gonna have
I've
to
been-
share that in class now.
I was really hoping I could fit that in sometime today.
You
Just
did great.
worked
That
it
was
in.
perfect.
Thanks.
I want to get back to the fitness part in a second. But so digging on this jazz singer,
Yeah.
like lifestyle. When you go to karaoke now,
Mm-hmm.
like, what's your song?
Amy Winehouse.
Anything, Valerie?
Oh,
Yeah.
Such a great song.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's my go-to.
It's your go-to?
You know Campanola on the Upper East Side?
Mm-hmm.
So Fridays, my favorite guy, he plays there, and he always lets me sing with him. I'm like, can I just get a contract here? Like,
You have
I'll
a
just sing here
residency.
every Friday. Yeah. And every time I go, I have my martinis, get a little drunk, and that's my singing
That's a good
What
time.
did he
for
say?
an hour.
Yeah.
What do I say?
No, what did he say to
He
the?
loves it. It's great.
So he would do a contract.
No,
Oh.
I would have to go through the restaurant, but
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
guy who plays, he loves it. He always
Okay.
brings me on. I'm sure it gives him a little break too.
I feel like there's no age limit on becoming a singer. Do you think
I
you'd ever
know.
try again? Seriously?
I mean, I like randomly will audition for stuff online or like submit myself to things. TikTok.
Yeah.
I like always post stuff on TikTok, but you're definitely not wrong.
Yeah.
I should definitely continue it of some sort, but it's hard.
Yeah.
My video just went viral on TikTok for singing,
Really?
so I'm like,
Wow.
hey,
Oh my god.
maybe someone will snatch it.
What were you singing?
I was singing Nat King Cole, Love.
I love
I
that
was
song.
in a bar in Cleveland, and this guy was just singing. I forget their names, but they have a show in Vegas. And so I took the mic, and I was like, is there any way I could sing? Obviously, I had like a few beers in me, whatever. Liquid courage. But afterwards, they were like, do you want to move to Vegas and be on our show?
Oh.
But
Wow.
obviously, I didn't follow up. I should. Maybe that's
Wow.
my
That,
go-to.
that sounds like a prime opportunity,
right?
there.
I
You could
know.
be playing shows in the Sphere.
I know.
That could be you.
It could be great. I know. Maybe I need to find his card.
Oh my God, imagine a fitness and show thing in the Sphere. That'd be so overwhelming.
So
I mean,
much
that
going
sounds
on.
amazing.
I'm in.
Just people on Molly doing jumping jacks.
Truly.
Uh,
But yeah, it's definitely not a no.
Okay.
So getting into the fitness, all right. you're a teacher, you see people coming to your class who want to get in shape. Like, where do people start with this? This is a very tough question for people.
Such a hard question, because you can be a type of person who's really nervous to go into a class. Like, I have had several clients who started off with just a personal trainer because they just didn't want to be around people working out, which I get that. If you're new to fitness, like, being on that Megaformer or taking Pilates class, it's confusing and it's hard. I mean, you're like shaking, you're working muscles that you didn't even know existed.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Pilates is way too hard.
Chris comes to my class and he's like, yeah, I can't do this. This is way harder than lifting weights.
It's so demoralizing because, like, I've lifted weights my whole life and I have an idea of, like, what I'm supposed to be doing. On a mega reformer, I'm, like, shaking, and then there's a girl who's 90 pounds who's just, like, going through it and just kind of floating around, and I'm dying.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy hard. And it's like really slow. So, like, you have to be good with your balance and technique. But yeah, so it could be anyone that starts from there who's nervous to go to classes. They start with a trainer and then kind of they guide you into a classroom, and maybe that's not your thing either. I have a lot of people who are crazy fit but just want to work one-on-one with a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So everyone's so different. It's hard, but it's a mental thing too. Like, you have to want to be good to your body and get stronger. So not everyone has that and has to work a little harder for that too. I don't even know if that answered your question.
No,
Where was I going with
I
that?
think it does. Yeah. I think I feel like the mental,
a hard question.
the mental part is the hard. Like, getting
It
the
is.
inertia to start.
Yeah.
Because I remember in college, like, I was kind of just resting on, like, the stuff I did in high school to carry me through college. So I didn't really, like, consistently work out.
Totally.
And so it was very hard to, like, get into some type of routine. But I always was like, you need to, like, do this. But then never would, like, do it.
It's funny because one of my good friends that lives in my building, right before her wedding, she was coming and taking my Pilates classes like once or twice a week. And she goes, I am not a workout girl. Like, this is just not really for me. And now she signed up for ClassPass. She goes like 5 days a week to work out.
She's addicted.
You just have to kind of get into a routine, like you said.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the most important part, and that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It takes you like 30 days.
Sure.
That's like what I always say. I'm like, give it 30 days. Be super, like, you sign up for that class, you're going to that class. Don't cancel it, even if you're hungover, or if, like, you want to go to brunch with your friends. Show up, get there. And then once that month passes, you get so used to moving your body, you, like, need that movement, you know? And so she's the prime example for that. She loves it.
I think that's all, and it's also the routine is the biggest part, where it just becomes like the normalized action. You're not forcing yourself to do it; it's just baked in. Like, for you, what is your motivating factor? Is it like growth in a certain skill set? Is it like feeling like you're getting stronger? Is it like the accountability of going with friends? Like, what was your kind of motivating
Just
drive?
for me personally, I just like movement, like, and I could do it all day, every day. If I could go to like 3-4 classes and my body could take it, I would do it. I just like it. You just feel good. Granted, you should not be doing 3 or 4 classes a day, but I'm just saying, like, I itch for it. Like, I really do love it. And just sweating, like, I don't know. I just like it.
If you do 3 to 4 classes a day, do them with Nicole.
I'm not doing 3 or 4 classes a day, but I wish I could. I wish my body could hold up and do that. For sure.
To that point, there's a question that I've been curious about, because, you know, one of the things that we've talked about with health on this show is like kind of fitness influencers and folks that have like maybe poured natural substances into their body for like physique or for appearances. Like, is there a ceiling for fitness? Like, what is fit enough? And do you see people like come to classes who you're like, man, you should maybe not go to like 7 classes a day? Like, that might be too much.
I think it's just like, if you know your body, like, only you know your body and how you feel. If 1 or 2 classes a week, that's enough for you, then you do that, you know? They say that like 3 to 4 workouts a week for like 30 minutes is just fine. Like, that's just enough, a little bit of movement, but it's also what you're doing outside of working out. Like, what are you eating? Are you being healthy? Are you drinking? Which obviously I did that last night. But that's okay. It's like, you have to have your like one-off cheat day. Otherwise, like, you're not living, you know? And again, you have to enjoy it. I think find something that's fun for you, and that'll motivate you. You know?
I've been reading this book, Atomic Habits.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the things is like the whole premise is like how do you get into good habits?
Yeah.
But one of the things is like having an identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not an athlete, so they won't go work out.
Yeah.
And that's like more of your ego.
That's
and it's
interesting.
like if you actually get into like, okay, I am an athlete. So if I'm an athlete, how would I treat and train myself like an actual athlete?
Yeah.
So it's like one of the first steps is like getting into that mode of like
For sure.
accepting that you are an athlete and that you should be like doing these things.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to read
it's really
that.
powerful. Yeah, we do that with
Yeah.
our students because they're like, oh, I'm not a coder, I'm not an engineer till I get hired. And we're like, no, they're like, first day you push code,
Yeah.
you're a software engineer, you're a
Yeah.
developer. And it's like all about seeing yourself in that position and like acting with confidence. And
Yeah.
it applies to habits too.
It's true. My husband always says, he's like, it's all mental.
Yeah.
So
It is.
whatever you're telling yourself, like when I'm hungover, he's like, quit being a baby. Like it's all mental. If you say you're hungover, he's like, yeah, you are gonna be hungover, but just say you feel good.
Yeah.
And
Lean into
today,
it.
like I went to Barry's this morning,
Such a
and
dude thing to say.
I know sometimes,
Get over
sometimes I want to punch him. I'm like, no, shut up. I'm literally puking over here.
Yeah.
Go get me a water. It is not mental.
Just turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not sick. But no, like something you said, Trey, about like that confidence building piece is something that I want to dig into. Like for you as a trainer, as a fitness instructor, you see people coming in at all different stages of their journey. But like, how do you build people's confidence as an instructor?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's also my natural energy too. I think every trainer has their own way about going about things. But I think for me, it's just all about consistency. Like, that's what I push for them. I'm like, if you're consistent, you're going to see results kind of thing. And if you like what you're doing, you're going to be consistent kind of thing.
It's true.
So I just push consistency. Even with my clients, I'm always following up with them, like making sure they're doing what they need to, scheduling them out, because I'm like, if you schedule out in advance, you're going to show up because you already paid for it. So you got to be there, you know?
So what do you say to your clients? These are like one-on-one clients, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
What do you say to
Or
them?
like even in my classes too.
So if you have like a plan for them, like, hey, we're going to do these type of workouts and get you on the certain nutrition plan, and then they're not doing it, what do you say to them? Are you more like tough love, or are you like...
I'm definitely like a tough love kind of girly, but I will say I am not a registered dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. So like I don't really push the food part of things.
Yeah.
I just obviously say you should be eating healthy or as healthy as you can outside of working out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just simply not going to see results.
Right.
And you're not going to feel good.
Yeah.
You know? You can work out as hard as you want to, but if you're eating like McDonald's or whatever every other day, I mean, that's not going to do anything, you know? Which, like, hey, I like McDonald's too. Like, I'm definitely going to get some Mickey D fries after this and a Diet Coke.
Perfect.
But
I
that's
love how
okay.
you're like preaching this, and then simultaneously like, I am super hungover. I got hammered. I'm gonna get some McDonald's.
But it's like a one-off thing.
You can't like ruin your whole life. Or, you gotta like, a little bit of balance.
Love having fun, and I feel like I definitely push that too. If you're not allowing yourself to have fun and you're being really strict, you're gonna burn out. You're just not gonna like working out is not gonna be fun. It's not.
I feel like that's super important because like I feel like a lot of people that I talk to work out based on like negative reinforcement, like I am fat or I'm not feeling like my best and that's why I do this, and that doesn't really scale well. Like you can't keep doing that forever. So it's like, how do I work out? How do I make this a positive? How do I like make sure that this is something that adds to my day rather than a chore that I have to do?
No, and I like that you say that because I would say back when I was a college gymnast that there was definitely like a lot of negative, like body image and stuff like that. Like those coaches are not easy on you. And you're working out for obviously to excel in your gymnastics capability, but also for body image, which is unfair.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like that was the hardest part mentally for me when I was a gymnast, for sure. Just like the things that they would say. And so I think fast forward, I would never want to preach that because that's not, I didn't like it, you know?
Yeah.
Can't feel good.
No, it doesn't at all.
Well, I feel like
That's a touchy subject for sure.
I feel like at least from the guy's perspective, like lifting, it's like, let me just do a bunch of bicep curls and like never like work out my legs.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not good. So the motivation, but like the
Go either way. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's interesting. I kind of want to go back to the encouragement piece for this because one of the things I think, and you brought it up, kind of that negative reinforcement or negative self-talk. Like, I've definitely struggled with group classes in the past, or even just like going to an open public gym.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I'm not feeling my best, I'm not feeling like confident in my body or like my athletic ability. You know, I used to be like a college athlete, and it's like, okay, now I'm not, and I put on like a bunch of weight. I like find myself more reluctant to go, or I'll leave earlier, or I'll get embarrassed. And like, this is the best, I think the best worst like fitness class moment for me. I was doing a boxing class at Overthrow on Lower East Side, and it's in this basement, and they had like crowded all these bags together. And I was up next to the wall, and it's just like a room full of hot, attractive, fit people, and I'm just like feeling not great, like punching this bag, and I punch it, and it hits the wall, and it hits a sprinkler pipe, which explodes. And so this geyser of water just hits me in the face, and then all of a sudden just starts flooding the basement that we're in.
Oh my god!
And I have to like stop the class, and the instructor is like what happened? And I'm just standing in the front. All these people are staring at me.
That's
soaked with
hysterical,
water.
though.
I was like, I can never fucking go back here. Like, I'm never coming back from this.
You're like, someone did that. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
we gotta catch this
like,
guy.
Whoa.
That sounds like a poor layout.
It was
of
a
the
poor
class.
layout,
Yeah.
but also I was like just mad embarrassed sitting up there. So
It's hard. It's hard to go to group fitness
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
What advice would you give folks that are thinking like, oh, maybe this isn't for me yet, but you still want to encourage them to get involved and have fun?
To be honest, I don't think group fitness is for everyone. Like, not everyone likes it. And again, like maybe going to the gym and just lifting on your own or working with a one-on-one client, like maybe that's more for you, you know? Like my husband, for instance, he doesn't love group fitness.
Yeah.
He likes berries, but he does it once in a while. But it's just simply not for him. But of course, you should try everything. You know, give it a try, and you'll know if you like it or not.
So it's a little bit like figuring out yourself and what your personality.
Absolutely.
Because you could do like
Totally.
swimming but not climbing, or CrossFit but
Yeah.
not Pilates, and
For sure.
it's just whatever your
You
preference
kind of have
is.
to like figure out your path.
Yeah.
Your like fitness
Yeah.
path, for sure.
Because you've talked about how running has become more like meditative and like a solo enjoyment activity, but I
Yeah.
feel like you wouldn't have said that 5 years ago.
No, I like picking up heavy shit and putting it down. But like for me, it's like this running thing. And we were talking about it before we started the pod. No one's chasing me 13 miles, right? So that the act of doing that doesn't make that much sense. So it can't just be physical or survival stuff. So it's like learning to deal with being tired, learning to go to that dark place, and like being comfortable is fun for me. But yeah, it's fitness, and the reasons behind why I do it have definitely changed as I've gotten
Yeah.
older.
Yeah.
I always say, like, you have to do things that are uncomfortable to get to that comfortable level. And it's temporary. Like, that feeling of being really uncomfortable in a group fitness, like, people around you,
Yeah.
it's okay if it's uncomfortable. Like, you have to ease into it, and that's a temporary feeling, and that'll go away eventually, you know?
Totally. I am interested in your perspective. Like, obviously, that's a feeling that people need to go through as someone who's taking these classes, but as an instructor who's leading these classes. Like, how do you develop, like, your skill set as an instructor?
Just, like, how do I know the body, or, like,
Or
how
how
do
do
I
you-
attack the...
How do you make sure that, like, if you continue to teach classes, that these classes are better and better? Like, do you, like, check yourself? Do you go back and give yourself feedback on how you teach?
It's tricky because it can be really hard as a fitness instructor because you're getting all sorts of people at different levels.
Mhm.
So I think it's really important to always give modifications and like hand-on adjustments, which a lot of instructors are scared to do.
Mhm.
Now, granted, people can look at modifying as a negative, but it's like, again, you know your body. As an instructor, I have to give that to you, like that option. Otherwise, you might leave getting injured or, you know. So I think it's important before I go and teach my classes that I look at each member. How many times have they taken a class? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Kind of do my research. So I'm working outside of the studio as well, you know,
Makes so much
just
sense.
preparing for, I'm not just writing a class or a program.
Yeah.
Like, I have to know my clientele for sure.
Totally. Do you ever
You
put a
know?
workout together and you're like, oh, this shit is so hard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like,
I'm gonna give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sick.
Like last Friday, I was really feeling it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want the freaking weekend. I'm like, I'm gonna kick their butt today, and it was hard. They left. They were like, wow, that was way harder than normal. Like, what's wrong with you today? Go, I just felt like it.
Yeah, I've gone to Alexis's Rumble class a couple of times, and she'll like come over and turn the tread.
She
up,
makes it
like,
way harder.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. Yeah, go.
It's
I
good
don't wanna
for
let
you,
her
though.
down,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
turns out I can do it. She's
It's
good, so
motivating.
it's like, okay,
Totally.
fine, fair enough.
You guys need to come take my Pilates class.
I would
Done.
love to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never done
come.
Pilates.
Come.
I'm
It's so
in,
fun.
like 10 years, I'm gonna feel horrible.
You'll be
No,
sore in
you're gonna be
places
great.
that you didn't know
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love it.
Just take one look at Joseph Pilates spread eagle. I'm like, oh, that's gonna
Oh,
be
those inner thighs will be burned in the next day. You won't even be able to walk down to the subway, I promise you.
That's
It's
facts.
a different type of workout, for sure.
I don't think I've ever been as sore as I've been after I've done Pilates.
Where did you
Fun.
take?
I've done solid core a
I
few
knew
times.
you were going to say solid core.
Yeah, it's.
Solid core is good too, though. It
I gotta
is.
try SLT.
I mean, SLT's obviously better,
Yeah.
but they're both good. They're
There's
both
a-
great.
There's a studio across the street from me, and I walk by it every morning when I'm not going, and I'm like, maybe I should go here one day. Of the
Try
365 I've lived here. But,
Yeah. Yeah, it's great, though. It's a good workout, for sure.
Yeah. What are the different types of Pilates? Like, because are there different types of Pilates?
Yeah. That's a really good question. It's a great question. Yeah, you have
basics.
you have the mat Pilates, you have the megaformer, the reformer. There's all different types.
Okay.
Like for me, I teach on the machine, but I'm not trained in mat Pilates, which is
Okay.
crazy because
Yeah.
obviously using the machine is a lot harder.
Way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and harder to teach for sure.
Just something called the megaformer. It's like a
Yeah.
Decepticon transformer.
It's wild. I mean, my mom, like when she comes to take class, she's in her late 60s and she's in shape and she's doing great and she does her like yoga and bar classes. But when she comes to my class, I'm like, Mom, you actually have to pay attention to what I'm saying. Like, don't block me out because this machine is no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like falling off the machine. I'm like, never again, Mom.
Yeah.
But kudos to her for
Yeah.
For trying.
showing up and trying and doing it.
She's better than Travis.
She just didn't listen.
Wow, shots
Okay.
fired.
All right, we're all going. We're going to test this out.
I love it. It's
What-
great. I'll
what
make it my hardest
exercise-
class.
What exercise do you think you'll be doing in like your old age? Like, what do you think you're gonna adapt? It's like because my mom does jazzercise every day. She's like in her 60s and just cruising. She's got her jazzercise ladies. They dance to
I
Pitbull.
love it. I love that she has her thing.
That's her thing.
It's great.
Like, what do you think your olden age thing is gonna be?
Oh, I'll be a Pilates girly
Let's go.
all day till the day I die.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's addicting.
Yeah.
It is for sure. I'm glad that I have my free membership.
That's
It's
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a huge savings in my bank account.
Yeah.
How to game the system, get a full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the things people should focus on for longevity?
That's a tough question. I
That was,
mean,
that was the
Good
one I had
question,
in the back of
Trey.
my pocket.
I was waiting for something to be thrown at me that I could not answer. I feel like it just goes back to being consistent. Like, I even look at my mom, and my mom has never stopped. And, like, people look at her and they're like, wait, your mom's 65 or 66? Sorry, Mom, I forget how old you are. Might be 67.
50.
But, they're like, she looks like she's 45. I mean, and she's in such good shape. She takes care of herself. She's healthy. She eats well sometimes. But I think it's just being consistent and,
Yeah.
like, movement. Everyone needs movement in their body every day, whether it's a walk, a run, like anything. I feel like that would be my answer.
Okay, so just any
That's
type of consistent movement.
Consistent movement.
I think it's always just come back to moving your body. It's like,
Yeah.
for me too. It's like even if you go on like a hot guy walk in the park, like, it's something.
It's true. Walking is
It's
the best
something.
workout. Walking's better than running. Listen, your knees after running, that's no joke.
Yeah.
It's not too good for you.
They say sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah.
Who says that?
How many things do you have in your back pocket today?
Well, you put out Joseph Pilates. So
We're well researched.
He's still winning, I think, with that one.
I doubt Joseph Pilates is even real.
yeah, I'm like 50%.
The greatest trick I've ever pulled.
You're messing with us.
And, well, okay, so I think about like the career going into fitness, and like I feel like there's a couple of ways you can get like the kind of advanced education in physical sciences or nutrition. Like, do you feel any pressure in your career to get more certifications or more education? Or
Yes.
what lets you build your training career up?
Yeah. I definitely think my next step would be nutrition.
Okay.
I think that you have to have some type of degree in nutrition, whether it's just like the baseline, but you should know nutrition.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Just to offer that to your clients too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they ask about it. And me personally, I don't want to give information if I don't, have any type of degree in it or knowledge.
Yeah.
Do I eat healthy? Yeah. I
wish
make
more
some good
people thought
recipes.
like you.
I know.
Yeah.
People just be spouting off opinions without any kind
Yeah.
of
Popping up on TikTok.
yeah.
and
So I
YouTube.
appreciate that you if you want to
Yeah.
give that advice, you will take the time to learn.
Oh
like,
my
how to do
God.
it.
And it's so important. It really is. I mean, I make good recipes and I'll put those out there, but I'm not talking about macros
Sure.
and all this other,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't know it enough.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much bad advice on social media about
There
fitness. I guess that opens up a whole can of worms. Like, social media and fitness feel pretty intertwined for me at this point. It's like you have to kind of build a brand and promote yourself. Like, what has that journey been like for you?
So I started building my brand more around music when I first started. So that kind of helped me transition into now it's more fitness based. But I will say, going back to what you were saying, there's so much out there, especially on TikTok. There's people putting up all these things about exercises and Pilates, but don't have any type of certification in it. I'm like, that's not, I don't know. To me, that can go 50-50.
Yeah.
I'm like, you look good and the movements that you're doing seem to be working, but do you know what you're actually doing and putting out there?
It's easy to fake it on social.
It is. It is.
Just reminds me of the chiropractor stuff. We talked to a doctor recently and asked
Yeah.
him about chiropractic,
Yeah. I don't
chiropractic,
know.
whatever.
Practicing.
Because there's all those YouTube videos of people backs just popping and getting pulled and yanked.
It looks amazing.
And it seems like it's the greatest thing ever, but he's like, yeah, there's no real training there. There's no science.
That's
It's
terrifying.
crazy. Yeah.
And then it's like
Terrifying.
the Liver King who
Yeah,
said he
Liver King.
ate only raw meat and he was super
What?
jacked, but it turns out he was taking a lot of steroids
Oh
and
my.
didn't disclose
And I
it.
feel like that happens all the time. It's all these yoked 19-year-olds. And just
It's
trying to-
all fake
Yeah.
on social media.
It's good
Come
lighting and a
on.
lot of steroids.
I try to only put out what I know
Yeah,
thing
Right.
and what I'm comfortable with.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I try my best. Gotta fake some things, but
We're,
I'm just kidding.
we're running a business here.
It is a business.
I definitely feel like for me when I was younger it was I'm working out to look good,
Yeah.
and then now it's it's more about just feeling good, and
It
the
is.
process of it is actually just more beneficial than trying to look some sort of way, because I feel with social media you can get into oh, I gotta look jacked.
Becomes addicting.
Yeah.
And my body is going to be different than your body or
Yeah.
her body. No matter what, I can work out 10 times a week and the person next to me works out 3 times a week and
Yeah.
they just might look totally fine and different from me.
Yeah.
You can't compare. You just can't.
Right.
You have to be so nice to your body. I remember there was a girl that was lifting weights. I don't know. This was in a class years ago. And she goes, I just don't want traps though. I'm like, traps aren't bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have big
Traps are
traps
sick,
and
yeah.
big shoulders. I'm like, that's just I'm showing that I'm strong. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
But it was just funny. It's just funny how people's minds work.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I want to keep really light weights. I just don't want traps. I'm like, it's not a bad thing.
Are you
It's actually
seeing
good.
a lot of that, body dysmorphia type of things? I just
Yeah.
want this to be big, but I don't want this to actually
Yeah.
be big.
People are really hard on themselves. Really hard. And I think that all stems from social media for sure.
How would
It's
you
sad.
combat that if you could?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I mean, that is that's a hard topic, hard
Yeah.
question.
Are
Because
there
I've even went through my fair share of disorders, especially being in the sport. When I was in high school, pretty badly. So
Yeah.
I get it. But which is also nice for me to experience that. So when I'm working with people, I understand the mental aspect of that.
I've had my same. Yeah, it's
Yeah?
to that point, you talked about it before, once you get done playing sports, you don't know what to do with yourself anymore, and there's that pit, and some of the worst days were in those first 6 months where I'm not training every day.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do with myself? And then you just
Yeah.
get down on yourself. So
Yeah.
it's important to come from a good place. when you're doing it.
Absolutely. I don't allow a scale in our apartment. I don't think you should step on a scale. Obviously, like for medical reasons, maybe, but like you should just be moving your body and doing the things that you like and feel good about it. If you feel good, that's all that matters. You don't need a six pack. You don't need to be ripped. Like traps are good, but like
Traps are cool.
the amount of times like I'll be at the gym and a girl comes up to me and she goes, "Wow, like you have traps and like a super muscular back." I'm like, "Was that a diss or a compliment?"
I think she's hitting on you.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I do. I'm like, I bench a lot. I lift a lot. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
The social media side of that is so real too. It's like the Facebook memories too fuck me up sometimes because it's like, oh, here's a photo of you playing like rugby and getting lifted up with like muscles. And I'm like, oh, give me back. Yeah.
Hey, you're still consistent.
Dude, I send you guys my deadlift progress every week, whether you want to read that or not.
I read it.
that's amazing.
It's
Tell
actually
me about
really
it.
cool. Well, okay, so I am one of those people who, as I mentioned, like I can get kind of embarrassed going to public gyms and stuff, and so I wanted to get just back to fit, back to feeling healthy, or healthier than I have been in the past. And so I signed up for personal training, and I've been doing one-on-one a couple times a week. And it's also like the financial accountability has helped me, where I'm like, I prepaid 3 months of this, and so I gotta fucking show up.
Yeah.
But I've been like getting stronger in these lifts because I never actually like learned them or did them. And it's been nice, like sharing with my support squad of best friends.
That's amazing. I want to be in that sports squad.
Let's go.
Send it to me.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
And
That's
now we
amazing.
got our running goals and stuff.
Yeah.
Too. This is a very healthy, supportive squad.
And you probably feel really good.
It does. It feels good. Yeah. And I'm trying to like lean in more to either being both kind to myself and also celebrating all the little wins.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, well, I hit this number. When's the next one? Like, when's the next one? So
I'm really bad at that.
that's the thing I'm the worst at is like I'm always looking for the next checkbox and I don't celebrate the one I just did.
Just be present.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. You'll get there for sure. But it's funny. I get so frustrated with people when they're like, well, I can't afford a personal trainer, or I go, well, don't go to dinner twice a week. Like there's one session with a trainer, you know? You should spend any amount of money on your health because that is the only thing for longevity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a 1-to-1 offset in my budget of personal training versus Uber Eats and drinking.
Yeah.
So it's like if I can literally choose healthy or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is expensive. It definitely is. Especially
is.
the one-on-ones are really expensive. Yeah. Classes are a little bit more affordable, and especially now that there's ClassPass, like that's a great option, especially to kind of trial and error of what you like and don't like. But yeah.
I also feel like aside from the financial thing, there's the time, and people will use that as an excuse of I don't have time. I don't have time to work out, and it's like you have time to do a lot of other things.
Oh yeah.
But it's just not important enough to you to make the time.
Make time, because you'll regret it later in life. You so will. Absolutely.
You're gonna get it later in life.
Right,
Karma.
I think that's important to talk about too. It's like if you don't start now, like wherever you are, like if you don't move around now, you're way less likely to just pick it up all of a sudden later. Like that seems more like wishful thinking than
Won't be
a plan.
easy.
Yeah, like if you don't have that muscle memory, literally muscle memory, kicked in, like why would you? Why would you start?
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong there, for sure. I mean, even like that little bit of time from gymnastics and then finding like my fitness journey, like my body transitioned so much and I felt like so tight because I wasn't moving as much. So you're definitely right there. It's a muscle memory thing for sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to dive into the business side of fitness for you.
Yeah.
Like I'm always so curious because now I've met a few friends that do teach classes or do personal training. Like, how do you actually structure the business around making that sustainable for you? Like, do you have an LLC? How do you set prices with clients? Like, I'm just curious how you've approached that.
So, well, you guys probably didn't know this, but I have another full-time job. So I do work in sales full-time, and then I teach at all these other studios, which makes it like a little bit easier for me to like pick and choose how much I want to be teaching.
Gotcha.
But I'm actually trying to make fitness my full-time thing eventually because I enjoy it and I love it.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I love it. But I totally forgot your actual question. Repeat
I
that
guess
again.
how you like started making that into more, or as you're thinking about turning it into full time, like what's the business strategy? Like how have you done marketing with clients? How do you set prices?
Honestly, not too much.
Yeah.
Teaching at all these studios, it's really helpful, and people find me there. And especially like my Instagram is my business.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like I post as much as I can about, what I offer, but I will say my prices are pretty inexpensive in comparison to other trainers in the city.
Gotcha.
But I want that to be that way because a lot of people can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's expensive. It's really expensive. And I feel like I'll take maybe 10 clients and that's it. That's like my cap. So for me, that's just how it works.
I like that you're doing that because, what we've talked about today is like fitness can be intimidating. If you add in high upfront costs or high barrier to entry to pay for it, like then you'll never do it if you already feel some sense of kind of anxiety about it. So I really appreciate that you're doing that.
Well, and it's a consistency thing. So twice a week, I feel is more where my clients see me, where a lot of times people can only afford one time a week with certain clients because it is so expensive. So if I really want the people that I'm working with to see results and feel stronger, I want them to be able to see me as much as they can. So keeping my prices down, they're going to see more results, which is only better for me because better
More success
ratings for
stories.
myself.
Yeah.
Give me that 5-star rating. You know what I mean?
How does payment work at these studios? Are you an individual, are you an independent contractor? Are you an employee of these places? Got it.
Yeah, most places. And then obviously my clients, it's just directly to me, which is nice. I should probably get an LLC, but I have my own insurance.
What would your business name be?
I don't know. Think of something for me, you guys. You're more creative than me. We need to find something cool.
Nicole Fits.
Oh, Nicole Fits.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that. You
Just
have a lot of things in your
Just
pocket. You thought of that 24 hours ago.
No, I have a lot of ideas that come up. Some of them are good, some of them are bad.
Your mind's always racing.
Yeah.
I love
night,
it.
total side tangent, but this girl was like, one of our friends, she was like, yeah, I always say this catchphrase, like, I love that, like, after everything. And she's like, I feel like I say it too much. So I was like, you should just replace it with a different catchphrase.
Yeah.
And she was like, what should it be? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe you deserve that.
Wow, you're just out here helping
Yeah.
folks, right?
And then I quickly realized that could totally backfire if you say, maybe you deserve that.
I've been starting to work in just random idioms into conversations. I was in St. Louis, getting dinner at a steakhouse, and the waiter just goes, "Some days chicken, some days feathers," and that means nothing. So I've just been working that into multiple conversations.
That's
how you doing
great.
today? Someday chicken, someday feathers, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one knows what it means, but they just keep pushing.
Yeah.
I love it.
All that to be
That's
said,
great.
well, I don't have a lot of good ideas sometimes.
Nicole Fits.
But Nicole Fits.
I might go with that.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
not too bad.
nickel and dimes or something. There's something.
Nicole and Dime. I'm going to squeeze every dollar out of you.
Yeah.
Nicole Fits might be on top right now.
I'm trying to think.
You're trying though.
I'm
I
trying.
appreciate the support.
Thanks for trying.
Good job, bud.
Yeah. Anything else? Any questions for us?
Yeah.
I don't think I have any questions.
Oh, I have
Unless
one.
I want you guys to tell me about your fitness journeys.
I have a question for you. You have a podcast now. Why are you in our space?
Why are you coming for us? It was our
I
thing.
am. No, our podcast is really fun though. I've been loving it, and it all started from my friend and I used to go running all the time in the park, and we're not good runners. We were running like 11.5-minute miles, and I'm like, hey, it's great. That's my conversational piece, and so we would talk and conversate the whole time, and everyone's like, how do you talk while you're running like 6 to 8 miles? Good question. I'm like, we're running really slow, but that's okay. And I said one day we should just pop in our headphones, start recording what we're talking about, and it's the 11-minute mile.
I love that. Wait, do you record it while you're running?
No, we wanted to.
Oh.
But yeah, it would sound like crap.
You start huffing and puffing
Yeah.
like midway
Yeah.
through the episode.
A lot of sound editing.
Yeah. That's way too much work. I'm already I'm baseline, doing Zoom, whatever. That's good enough for me right now. But it's been really fun.
Yeah, do you enjoy it?
I love it. Yeah.
And
It's quick.
what's the podcast about?
Just anything.
anything?
A
ever
lot
in
of
life?
fitness, a lot of
Okay.
wellness, but I would say like that's our main focus. But obviously, go off topic sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Can't always talk about fitness and wellness. I'm already surrounded by it 24/7.
Right.
I need a little break from it.
I get that.
Yeah. So, but it's fun, and every episode's 11 minutes. So
That's
it's short.
That's
I really
cool,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a good little commuter
Totally.
podcast. Yeah.
Trav, should we
Should we
do that?
Should we not do an hour?
Yeah.
We just really like.
I
the
was
sound
gonna
of our
say an
voices.
hour is long, but it goes by really quickly.
It's like
Yeah.
just so fun. Honestly, we're not making any money. We're just having really good conversations. and,
Who
like, creating stuff.
cares?
It's really fun.
Yeah. And you learn so much stuff about people.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
I mean, we could make some
We
money.
can make
We-
some money. You know.
Not
End
opposed.
goal.
We have an LLC.
End goal.
We're ready for money.
Yeah, Panda Fox Productions.
You need some sponsors out there.
Yeah.
We
We've
have
been trying.
Palante.
We do. Palante.
It's great.
Um,
We love Palante.
Yeah.
Radia. Radia.
Wow.
What was?
You gotta know the name of your sponsor before you do a plug.
We just hurt their business.
Sorry.
What is Radia?
So Radia is one of my
Radia?
friends' companies. I think of it as like an aggregator for local vibes. So it's like when you go to when you go to Yelp or Google reviews, right? You'll look at reviews for the food. You'll look at reviews of like the experience, the service. But what Radia does, per my understanding, going off script, off copy, is you'll rate like the general vibe. Was it like a date night vibe versus more of like a loungy vibe?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of our sponsors. So shout out Radia.
I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you should.
That's
Yeah,
a cool
yeah,
concept, though.
And also go buy Palante rum.
Stop eating the mic.
I know. Should I be holding this
Coming
closer to
straight
me?
through my mic.
Oh, is it? Go buy Palante rum.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
By Palante.
Yeah.
Where are you guys on your fitness journeys right now? What are your goals? What's been working?
You want me first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested.
I grew up playing basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was always like
No, you're pretty
practicing.
tall.
Yeah.
How tall
Thank
are you?
you. 6'1".
6'1". Okay. You seem
just
taller.
glowing
But,
because
okay.
Yeah.
You just made sure it's that.
His ego grew too.
So yeah, it was like always practicing, always working out in like high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then in college it was a little bit like, okay, I'm just gonna play basketball, but it wasn't really consistent about that. Wasn't consistent about working out, and then when I started working, because honestly by the end of college I had just eaten out and drank a lot,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I need to get in
Normal.
shape.
That's okay.
What's that?
Nothing.
Go on.
Okay. So yeah, I just started getting more into like lifting weights again, and then it took a while, but like now I'm sort of at the point where like I really enjoy it, and it's kind of
Good.
part of the morning routine. And yeah, do it just to feel good. For
If
the
you
day.
if you don't do it in the morning, will you not get it done?
I will get it done. It's actually gotten to the point where like I get antsy if I don't work out, and
You
like
itch for it.
it's kind of like if I don't eat a meal, like you're like I should have eaten something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same way where it's like
sure.
I just feel antsy and it just feels really refreshing afterwards. But it took a while to get to that point where it was like, okay, this is just now like non-negotiable part of the routine.
But you figured it out.
Yeah.
So you think it was just being consistent?
I think it was being consistent. I think it was also figuring out the other things that were preventing me from wanting to do it. So
Makes
that
sense.
included like getting hungover and
Yeah.
eating out and doing all that stuff.
Your
Listen.
discipline's awesome. I mean, you ran like a mile a day for like 5 years or something.
Yeah.
That's
That's
great.
very cool.
That's a long mile.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
Also, hangovers in your 30s, like
last
they get you.
Yeah.
Days.
Days.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So fun. You got to get that elementi.
Mm.
Have you heard of it?
What's
Yeah.
that?
Oh my god, it's the best. It's
Is
like
it mushrooms?
it's like liquid. I wish. Not as good. It's like a liquid IV,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
elementi's a
Powder.
lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You know,
took one
Just
of those.
expensive. They're really expensive.
Have you seen this like prebiotic for alcohol? One of our friends,
No.
Sean, gave it to me, and it's like a little tiny shot, like smaller than like a ginger shot.
Okay.
But it's supposed to metabolize alcohol if you drink it prior to drinking. So we did it before I think Super Bowl day, where I was drinking all day, and I felt honestly amazing the next day.
Good for you. I did.
Send that to me.
Yeah, it was like
Oh my
$12
God.
a vial, so not cheap
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
any means, but check it out.
Sounds amazing. I could have used that
We're
yesterday.
looking for sponsors.
Do
Little
research
late.
also before you just blindly take it.
We
because
have
we don't
no
know anything about
knowledge.
this.
Not a doctor.
We have to say not a doctor in like 6 episodes. now.
Yeah.
We keep giving advice about medical things.
We're not financial advisors, not doctors, none of
We
that.
really know nothing.
Wait, but your fitness journey.
Yeah.
My
You're
fitness
a
journey.
big lifter.
He's a
I-
hybrid athlete.
I'm just trying not to break at this point. I played sports for a long time, played college baseball for a hot sec, and then when I was done, just took a bunch of test boosters and tried to pick up heavy things and try to be as strong as humanly possible. It's
We love
changed.
that.
Yeah, do we? But it was toxic. Now I just try to be. I have like certain standards with fitness that I always want to be able to do. Like I always want to be able to, squat 315, bench 225, or like deadlift 4 plates. So like
Yeah.
there's certain things where it's like I don't need to be the best at it. I don't need to be like as performance driven as I was in the past, but like I feel good knowing that I could do a couple of these things still. So it's been a lot of running. Like we talked about it, I've ran 2,000 miles over the past 2 years, and
Each
God.
try to no, not each year, and try to work out
Wow.
like 5 to 6 times a week. So
It's good.
yeah, just trying. It's the consistency thing
setting,
for me.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's we've talked about it before. It's the practice of doing it rather than the actual result for me
Right.
at this point.
Good. It's a good way to look at it. And you're crushing it over there too.
Yeah, I'm trying.
You are.
I'm like 3 months into personal training. I got another 3 months. Just trying to like actually. One of the goals for me was understanding how to build a program for myself that felt sustainable. Because
Yeah.
I'd like go on YouTube and I'd put these things together, but then I'd feel like too much strain or too little strain
Yeah.
and stuff. And I also felt like I didn't really know the proper form for a lot of the lifts that I wanted to do. And so this has been really nice to like have somebody guide me through it and
Yeah.
build up over time. And I've grown like a lot stronger. And so now I have some like hard strength goals, and then there's a lot of running goals too, because I do like a half marathon each year, and this year I want to start setting some good like running PRs.
It's
So
amazing.
it's all kind of like just feeling healthier, dropping some weights.
Yeah.
A little
Good.
bit hybrid athlete style, trying to follow Justin's.
I mean, if
shoes.
we're all running the same race, we should definitely get some kind of contest going.
Yes,
Like if you beat me, then what?
it should be like relative, like minutes PR.
Okay, we'll
I'm
we'll
sad
game
I'm not
do
running the
this.
same race. I want to be involved. I love a contest.
Sign up. I think you can still sign up for.
Well, you would just
Listen,
win.
I'm not doing
Two
two
in a
half
month? 2 in a
marathons.
month?
No, thank you. Also, there's a really good app,
Mm-hmm.
and for all of you. So if you don't like to program for yourself, like I personally don't like to program for myself. I teach all week. I'm programming. I'm like making up classes. The last thing I want to do when I go into a gym is have to create a program.
Totally.
So there's an app called Moves, and there's like a few of these out there, but she's done a really good job where you can pick different programs and it'll let you put how many days a week you want to work out. So I do like 3 at the gym, and then I do classes outside of that.
Yeah.
But it gives you the move. It shows you a video of how to do the move. So in case you don't know it, you put
Yeah.
in your reps,
That's
you put
important.
in your weight, and
Yeah.
then you log it.
Yeah.
And she keeps track of everything. It's incredible. And it's like $13 a month.
Yeah.
It's pretty cheap.
If
Yeah.
you
It's
break
like
that
having
down
a
per
personal
workout,
trainer.
yeah, that's great.
Granted, I hope that doesn't affect me, but
Yeah.
doesn't take my business away.
No, I
but
think that's
it's a good app.
That's really
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
I found like doing that stuff is very helpful. Of like, if you go to the gym and you're like, I'm gonna try and figure out what to do,
Mm-hmm.
then you're like wasting time, and then you're like, I don't know what to do, and just
You're
kinda
like half
lost.
in,
I'm
half
staring
out.
at
Yeah.
my phone half the workout.
Yeah.
And you should have it written out before
Yeah.
you go there.
Right.
Otherwise, you're not going to have a successful workout.
Exactly. Like that planning is just like, all right, I have my instructions.
Yeah.
I can follow this to a T. I don't even have to think about like what I'm doing next. It's all there. That helps so much.
Yeah. It's a great way to learn new moves, too. So just throwing that out there.
Outside of other people's apps, anything you want to plug for yourself? on the
I know.
pod?
I'm like, my gosh, I'm giving everyone so much credit over here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Just
podcast.
Check out my
Podcast.
podcast. Come take my classes.
Yep.
Sign up for one-on-ones with me.
Let's go.
Wait, hold on. Podcast. It's called.
The 11-minute mile.
Okay, and then Pilates,
SLT.
Berries.
Yep.
Equinox.
Equinox.
Okay, and then any particular days you teach on?
Equinox, I'm there just Wednesdays on the Upper East Side. And then SLT East 67th. I teach Mondays and Fridays, 8:30, 9:30. Tuesdays, 4:30, 5:30. So look for me on the schedule.
Boom.
And then Barry's Sunday morning at Park Ave, 8:10.
We
I
should
have
do-
to get
I
up
could
at
do that
6
class.
6
We should take that
a.m.
class.
We should do
on a
that
Sunday.
class.
We should
Should.
take
Come.
What are you guys doing Sunday?
Come take.
next Sunday.
Yeah. Sounds like we're doing berries.
Yay.
Bears.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Seriously, come.
Let's
It'll be
do-
so fun.
What about Pilates?
No, let's do berries, Pilates, then Alexis's Rumble class all back to back.
All in one day. You'll be crushed.
Yes, no, I would not.
I don't know if I physically could.
No,
could do
we could do it.
berries.
we could do it.
We could do it.
Yeah, we're
You guys
strong.
should definitely start with berries.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
like, it's dark in there. No one's paying attention to you. It's like,
I
it's
like
cool.
berries. Berries is
Yeah,
fun.
I
Berries.
love berries. I'm a berries girl.
Cool. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on the pod.
you.
We really enjoyed having you.
It's fun.
It's a
Thank
blast.
you, guys.
I feel
Hope I did okay.
Oh, you did great.
You crushed.
Everybody, follow us on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, the whole gambit. Get in shape.
Get in shape.
Kiss your homies goodnight.